Okay, ready to start. My idea for this particular project came from a wonderful book called Living into Art. And I'm not sure if it's still in print, but this can be all of our inspiration. And this book contains many collages that were made by several people. And I found them so inspirational and thought that they would be wonderful to use as our inspiration for our own murals. So just to show you a few of them, these were made purely from images from magazines. They're very different. Each one is very different, as you can see. They're not necessarily expressing the theme of 100% sustainability, but in fact, they're all so profound that I found kind of aspects in this theme in every one. It's quite amazing what can be done with just magazine images. So I've suggested National Geographics as the images are very authentic. They are of a very high standard. The National Geographics do not have to be new. They can be old. You can often get them at secondhand shops for very cheap prices. They're often donated. So one has to look around a little bit for that. And the next thing is how to go about gathering the images. And we are going to do this through a process. So what this means is the idea is that learners go into an imaginary exercise, a visualization, and the education department is going to provide the visualization. The theme is 100% sustainability. Now, this means different things for different people. It could mean, obviously, our planet, the earth, how we live in the earth, how we live together. That's the most obvious thing, but it could also mean something inside. How do we need to change our souls or our spiritual inclinations in order to have something sustainable on our planet? So some people would like to look outside, other people inside. And the idea really is to go through a process where the learners are not really going to know what the result's going to be. And the way to do this is to relax into a visualization where they'll be imagining things, and then to come out of the visualization and immediately start taking their magazine and slowly and rhythmically paging through the magazine. And their body or their instinct or intuition will tell them when an image needs to be pulled out. So what it basically means is that they're going to have this theme in mind, in their heart actually. Then they might come up with an image that speaks to them. They don't have to understand why. And they just tear this image out and put it on a pile. They are not flicking through the magazine. If they do this, this basically means they're hunting and they're wanting to find a specific thing. So I'd like you to just explain beforehand, they're not going to be finding specific images. The images are going to call them. So if somebody, for example, wants a black cat, they're probably not going to find it and get very frustrated. So the idea is one's going into this process. So one is going to basically gather a pile of images together from the magazine. And the next step is to create 3 piles from these images. So once they all have their images, it's probably going to take about 10 minutes. So they're doing it fairly quickly so they don't think too much. Then they're going to create 3 piles. One is definitely, it's really got to charge the images for them. The next is maybe, and the next is probably not. So you need to reassure the learners that they can always go back to any of the piles, but we've got to start somewhere. So we're going to start with our definites and then possibly use the possiblies and then the others as a reserve, so to speak. So that is the next step really of creating our collage. It's an important one. It's the most inspirational one. Once they've gathered all their images, they start with a definite pile and they cut out the images into interesting shapes. So it's lots of fun. It's very, very exciting, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll be back for the next chapter in a minute.